let's watch this video here. Talk about just adding insult to injury. Talk about what a clown, what an absolute clown you have representing the so-called Progressive Caucus.
I've always given the president credit for coming in with a vision that was big, bold, populist, and being willing to fight for it. And I would argue that the Progressive Caucus was probably his best friend on Capitol Hill in terms of selling this to the country, pushing for it, making sure we got legislation drafted and passed in the House. Many of those pieces that are in the Inflation Reduction Act came directly from the piece of legislation we drafted in the House. And as for Senator Manchin, I think it's a great thing that he was able to get to a place where he could be comfortable with moving some of these critical issues along and that he didn't give up. I give him a lot of credit for that. And I'm happy to have him in the Democratic family.
I'm happy to have him in the Democratic family. What a clown. What an absolute clown. What a fucking clown. What an embarrassment. What a fucking disgrace. I'm happy to have him in the Democratic family. I don't have to repeat myself. The guy who killed all those policies that I laid out, killed the child tax credit, killed Medicare expansion, killed universal pre-K, killed all of it. Yeah. I'm happy he could get to a place where he was comfortable. The whole progressive critique is that corporate Democrats do not just what they're comfortable with, but what the corporate donors are comfortable with. That's the whole raison d'etre of the Justice Democrats, our revolution sort of movement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that we have to call out and challenge the influence of corporate power on corporate Democrats. So it's not that he came to a place where he was comfortable with it. It's that he put enough poison in this bill where his donors were comfortable with him signing off on it. And you, Pramila Jayapal, either don't know that, in which case you're a fucking moron, or you do, and you're choosing to couch it in this bullshit language, which you ought to know that your base is not going to go for. So, and at the end, we welcome him in the Democratic family. We welcome him in the Democratic family. That says it all right there.
That's MSNBC talk. That's in like Dances with Wolves that Native Americans would be like, that is the MSNBC talk of the white man. That's right. How that's coming across. So Pramila Jayapal, I'm watching that. I'm saying, this woman brushes her teeth with shit in the morning to be able to lie like that. That is just no. She doesn't believe any of that. She doesn't believe anything that she's saying.
She can't. She's too smart. She's not an idiot.
No. She's a creature of Washington, and at this point, and very few people are really comfortable seeing themselves as a villain. So, she's doing the formulation in her mind that most of them do, that I'm sure Nancy Pelosi does. I'm doing the best I can within the system. It would be worse without me here. I'm here trying to fight the good fight, and I have to say this about Manchin because that's politics, and maybe I'll need him for something later. That's how she's justifying it. And really, we're past that. We've been past that for a long time. We needed fighters. We didn't need more people like this. That's why we elected you. That's why we elected the squad. We were expecting you to go there and challenge this, not to become a part of it.
Right. Exactly. I mean, she would have been saying in 2009, we welcome Joel Lieberman into the Democratic Party, right? I mean, there's always one or two of these characters who they put up there to, hold up the good bill and eventually hold out until we get the shit bill. And, it just says a lot that, he's the guy who gets the thanks now. I mean, Joe Manchin gets a victory lap now.
Why do they care that the media is going to attack them? Don't they see that fucking Trump's poll numbers shot way up after they raided Mar-a-Lago? That is how little authority the media has with the American people. Literally, a media endorsement is poison. You should want them to hate you. Who cares? If they had gone after you every day, that would have been the best way of securing your seat for life. The people would have loved you for it. If you had held on for family leave, the people who aren't going to like it are the people who are not voting for you anyway. Those are not going to be your people. The people who voted for you, they would have loved you. And you know what? There are a fair amount of Republicans we saw from Bernie's campaign who would have liked you too if you had really stood up and fought for something. They wouldn't have lost their seats. Why? You can't take the media being mean to you? You can't take the media being mean to you? You're a fucking politician, man. Take it. You're not, the media is not your fucking constituency. And you can't even argue, well, I have to have the media on my side because otherwise I'll get voted out. No, you won't. No, you won't. DeSantis, a lot of people are saying, you know, the media is being nice to him and it's fucking him up. That, you know, once they saw the threat of Trump, they started being a little nicer to DeSantis, and that's not good for him.
I mean, look, there is a difference, obviously, between the Democratic and Republican bases. The Democratic base mostly trusts the media. The Republican base mostly doesn't. However, in the case of, you're right, people like Jayapal, AOC, you know, these are very, very popular figures in their home districts.
They were.
And they're not going to lose re-election just because they get a few tough news cycles on MSNBC. That's not going to happen. But look, I think ultimately what this is more about even than that, I think this has a lot more to do with the fact that, you know, as she said, look, she said it right there. She said it's a Democratic family. We welcome him into the Democratic family. This is the problem with electing progressive Democrats.
It reminds me of Donna Brazile running around in 2016 going, you know, it's like at the Democratic convention. Oh, it's like Thanksgiving. You know, you have your disagreements, but you all get together and we walked out of there unified.
Yeah. Now that you mention that,
you remember that line of shit?
Mm-hmm. Well, when it comes down to election time, Pramila Jayapal needs the Democrats to maintain their majority in the House, because unless they maintain that majority, Jayapal has no power whatsoever. You don't have power as a minority party. And so come campaign season, which we are in right now, obviously, she has to do what she can to get the Democrats as many wins as she can. And that means getting wins for Joe Biden. That means making Joe Biden and the Democratic Party look good right now. And so when you pass a bill like this, it is in her political interest to tout this bill, whether it's worth touting or not, because she needs to pump Democratic numbers for the midterms. Otherwise, she loses all her power anyway if they lose. And that's where all this goes. All the energy just gets funneled into the party at the end of the day. And by the end of the day, I mean every 2 years. Every 2 years is the end of another day, right? You have to keep winning elections. And so there is no room to actually build on anything that could possibly transcend that goal, because if in the process you lose the House, well, now you're back to square one, right? And that's how they see it, and that's how they function. You really want to get real? You talk to real deal leftists, anarchists, communists, right? They will tell you that electoral politics as an enterprise is bourgeois bullshit for this exact reason. Because at the end of the day, even if you elect good Democrats or good Republicans or even good forwardists or good Greens, right? Once a party amasses power, the people in that party's only interest can be, the only interest they can really invest in is maintaining that power. Because once they lose that power, everything they're building towards just falls apart anyway. Therefore, you're always going to have this problem in politics. This is not unique to Jayapal. It's not unique to Democrats. It's not unique to Republicans. This is a function of electoral politics being an inherently bourgeois and elitist forum. Right? The real politics, these people would argue, happens on the streets and in the union halls. That's where actual politics happens. All of this voting and elections, this is all bullshit anyway. That's the real red pill. That's not an easy one to swallow, especially because the Bernie Sanders campaign got the left really involved in electoral politics because we thought we could win. But we couldn't, right? And even if we could, we'd run into a similar problem.
Please clap.